Hi, LiberAnarchy here. This isn't a ranting, complaining video. Um, I was in a conversation with Eagle Eye 1975 in comments, and it was amiable. This isn't drama. I'm not mad at him. And he brought up, I even forget which video this is, but he brought up, otherwise I'd actually cite it, so if somebody wants to go dig through comments or something, you can, and you can find it. But, he brought up the quote need to have a state in order for some services such as roads, sewage, power, etc. And I asked the question, why can't some services such like a sewer system work on a free market basis like others do? And and he said that um, because you can only have so many people building sewer pipes, you can only really have one sewage system. It's not like you can have, 4 or 5 companies building, sewage systems right next to each other, and you can choose to pick the best one to use and, pay the cost for it. It's not like a normal product in that you choose which store to enter, or you have different brands of cereal and you choose which one to buy. But what I think, and Eagle Eye, I hope you watch this, and I think what's happening is you're assuming, and my forehead itches, anyway, you're assuming that sewage, that companies for sewage systems are just going to start building willy-nilly or something and not take into consideration what other sewage system, what other companies that are running, sewage pipes, sewage systems are actually doing. Now, I don't know exactly how these things are organized. I don't know the specifics of how to build a sewer, but there's nothing that says that a certain community or even a certain household couldn't hire a particular company to lay down particular pipes, or a builder couldn't hire a particular sewage company to lay down particular pipes to connect the house to the sewage system and have obviously working sinks and toilets, and say, okay, we want to use Joe's sewers or something as opposed to Jane's because Joe's cost lower, or we'll use Jane's because they have a history of lasting longer even though they cost more, or something like that. And so, and there's nothing that guarantees that the companies will have different standards and won't be able to connect pipes in different areas or something. That would be kind of stupid. That would be like assuming because cell phones work on, well, they don't work on an entirely free market basis, but that's like saying, well, Verizon Wireless and AT&T, one on Verizon's network and one on AT&T's network, can't call each other or something like that. Well, of you know of in such a case, the companies would have incentives to work out common standards for things, although probably standards have already been established. It's not like a whole lot of stuff in the equipment would necessarily change. And it, if you have different companies, let's say for some reason there's a dispute going on as to who gets to run the pipes in a certain area of land, that's where a private arbitration firm could come in. Or, or something like, maybe some communities wouldn't have private arbitration firms, but whoever arbitrates legal disputes in a particular community. What I'm saying is, no, I don't have the answers as to what happens if a whole bunch of people conspire under a system of private law firms and a voluntary choice to live under the edict of this private defense slash arbitration firm as opposed to that one, and a whole bunch of people apparently conspired to have you outlawed or something. No, I don't know what to do if your reputation in that situation is ruined, although it would still be really unlikely. And well, what do you do now if your reputation is ruined? Like, you can't find work in a certain town because somebody has an in for you to make everybody think that you're a pedophile when you're not, or something like that. I don't know what to do in situations like that. It's not like a state prevents that anyway, although I do understand your questions. I've gotten off topic. In the case of the sewers, no, I don't know the exact detail of how the sewers will operate in a stateless society, but there's nothing that says that the way societies operate can't change and reorient themselves such that you can have competition among private sewer companies or private electric companies. Although what I'd really like to see is people getting off the grid and going on solar, but it's not something I can make people do, and if it's worth doing, then it'll happen on a free market basis, and I wouldn't want to force people to do something. If it has merit, then it's my job to say, hey, this has merit. I'm going to try to convince you to do this, as opposed to that. But yeah, I mean, people getting off the grid and not dependent is a really good thing. I think the electrical grid is a great example of what happens when you have everybody so interconnected into the same damn system. It fucks up one place, it kind of fucks up a lot of places, doesn't it? Whereas everyone working on an individual basis, it fucks up one place, everyone else is still fine and going. But anyway, so all I'm saying is that I think, while I don't have all the answers as opposed to how electricity, sewage, water, what else, radio, etc., would work in a stateless society, because we are used to having such things be not only even in a free market, because actually there's nothing that says that the solution has to be private. I mean, shit, a community might agree to own such things in common, have one big sewer system for the whole community and one sewer company for the whole community. There's nothing that says a state has to do that, has to preside over that. Excuse me. But what I'm saying is, just because we're used to having the state orchestrate such things, even though, like, roads are already privatized, even if we have a state telling the companies you're going to build it here and here and here, it doesn't mean that we can't change the way we do things such that we have community members voting, we would like the road to be built here, 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 and then somebody else saying, no, I don't want it next to my property, and have the usual back and forth that goes on, but nobody's forcing anyone to pay for the road that doesn't want the road. Or maybe you have a situation where, of course, the roads a lot of them are already built, and it's a matter of maintenance, but maybe you'd have a situation where those who are willing to pay for the road, who want the road, are willing to pay for it and are willing to have it near their property or even through their property, and the ones who don't want it won't have anything to do with it. Just saying, there's a lot that I don't know as far as what will happen. How will this be solved? What happens when 72 ninjas attack you in a dark alley in a stateless society? Well, what happens under a state when 72 ninjas attack you in a dark alley? I mean, if somebody has better answers to how would a sewage system work in a stateless society, let me know. I mean, yeah. Let me know. I'm not one of the seasoned YouTube anarchists, anti-statist, etc. Let me know. Link. But so and the reason I'm making a video about this is because there's a broader topic, and it seems to be that just because we are used to certain things being done in a certain way doesn't mean that's the only way to do them. And actually, when I think about it, you've given me something to study. There is a deficit in my knowledge here. And yeah, so there's, I can sit here and talk about how you never signed a social contract, and taxes, since they're ultimately under the threat of prison and ultimately under the threat of a gun, is not an endorsement of this social contract. And since you're born under this quote contract, it's not even a contract, and voting is not an endorsement of the social contract, because the political class essentially says, do you want, who do you want your new master to be, A or B? They're still from the political class. I mean, so I can sit here and argue against social contract. I can say, well, the Constitution, well, okay, that would be fine to roll back to the Constitution, but woulda, shoulda, coulda, how'd that work out? The government isn't going to say, oh, but the Constitution, the magic parchment, stops us from doing this, so we're not going to do it. No, the government doesn't say that, and it's not a failure of the people at this point, when the political class, which has the military behind them, yeah, sure, we have guns, but they have the fucking military and the police behind them. It's not, by this time, it's not a failure on our part. And of course, again, the elections, we get to choose new masters. It's not like we get to choose somebody who won't violate the Constitution versus somebody who definitely will. No, we get two people who are going to probably violate this Constitution for different reasons, different excuses, right? So there are things that I can argue against, but the thing about utilities and things, I don't know how those would work under a stateless society, but that doesn't mean that they can't. Just saying. Okay, so this is rambling and long-winded. But if you got this far, I do appreciate it, and I'm going to hang out so YouTube doesn't cut me off. And there's my cat. Yeah, see that? There we go. Yeah. Cat videos. The cat will make you subscribe.